call to order City Hall Council Chambers for the City of El Centro City Council meeting. If we could have roll call.
Councilmember Gardenis.
Present.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Silva.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Present.
Mayor Villegas Walker is absent.
If we could have everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilmember Silva.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for invocation by our Councilmember Cardenas.
Yes, good evening. Precious Lord, thank you again for this time that you've given us, Lord, and we just ask that you be with us as we hold this meeting, Lord. We also lift up our community and our city, Lord, and we just do this in your name. We pray. Amen.
To our city attorney, do we have a report in closed session?
In fact, you do, and it may be a little lengthier than normal, not too much, because of a couple of major pending matters that the council considered in closed session. First, in closed session, the city council authorized us to go forward with a false claims complaint against Charter Communications, doing business as Spectrum. Let me summarize what we've done so far. First of all, I've exchanged what would best be characterized as restrained nasty letters with their corporate counsel in Stamford, Connecticut. Charter has not moved off of their position that they will not rebate and they will put the channels back on the air when they're ready. Number two, we've filed formal and informal complaints with the Public Utilities Commission, which has referred us back to our own ordinance and to the Federal Communications Commission. We have utilized our own ordinance to serve 5 administrative citations on the regional representative of Charter Communications. And we have joined with the cities of, or in the process of joining with the cities of Yuma and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and possibly Syracuse, New York, in a formal FCC complaint. The purpose of that complaint is to obtain damages, to force Charter to rebate costs for the channels that were not received, and to go back into negotiations with Northwest. We'll keep you apprised of how that's going. The problem in all this is when the state of California took away local cable franchising authority and turned it over to the state, a city, even a charter city, lost a lot of its ability to make the cable operator perform. So there is a problem with state law. Eventually that should be addressed. Whether it will be or not, I don't know, but eventually that's the real part of the solution. Second issue is the Mayan Hotel. Since it was red tagged, 3-4 weeks ago, there's been some controversy about the process. The background for the process was that the owner had been out of compliance increasingly, resulting in serious, life-threatening code enforcement violations, public nuisance violations over the 2 months preceding red tagging, including water flowing through electric boxes and meters, which is a fire hazard, bedbug infestations, and other significant electrical and plumbing problems. For that reason, the city, after notice to the public agencies who had placed residents there, specifically including the county, about a month's notice, red tagged it and the residents were removed. We have been attempting to work with the owner. That is not working out terribly well. And so the city will be looking at other types of remedies, including criminal enforcement against him and possibly a receivership to transfer control of the property to a third party supervised by the court to clean it up and sell it. And we'll keep you apprised of that as we move along.
Thank you very much. We don't have any presentations or announcements.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, I do have a comment regarding number 1.
Yes.
I did speak to Mr. Schott, He was scheduled to be here, but I did share with him that our mayor would not be here and recommended that he postpone his presentation. And he will be rescheduling with our clerk the presentation sometime in April.
That's great. That'd be great to hear from him. So since we don't have any scheduled public comments, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Does any council member wish to pull an item from consent? I don't see any, so now we move to vote on the consent agenda.
You have voting on your screen?
No.
We don't have it. Oh.
Is the voting appearing now? No?
We have the home screen now. Nope.
I mean,
There it is.
We have a motion from Councilmember Silva, second from Councilmember Cardenas. Passes 4 yes, 1 no vote. The consent agenda passes. And we move on to our public hearing.
Pro Tem, it wasn't a no vote, it'd be an absence.
So it's
I have
4,
absent. The no vote would be the absent.
4-0. The no vote is the absent. Now we move on to the public hearing. We could have the presentation by Ms. Villacana.
Working before. Oh, thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. As we do on an annual basis, we're here before you to provide you with information in regards to our meeting our goals under our housing element. As related in the staff report, our housing element has a period of from 2013 to 2021. And every year, we are required to submit an annual report to the state. Basically, within that report, we report our outcomes as it relates to housing development and keeping housing within the city of El Centro. In essence, 2017, we did fairly good as compared to if you compare it to 2016. As you can see, under the 2017 year, there were 74 units, new units, that were either converted or new construction that were added to our regional housing needs assessment goals. Out of those 74, 7 of those were single-family units. We had 59 multifamily units, and we have 8 accessory dwelling units. The 59 multifamily units were basically 2 projects where two hotels were converted into single-room occupancy units. And the projects, both of them are on Adams Avenue. As it relates to the regional housing needs assessment, as you can see, our allocation is 1,924 units. Out of that, the units built from 2014 to 2017 we have 230 of those units. So we're at 1,694. We still need 1,694 units to meet our regional housing needs allocation, which will end in 2021.
Just a little bit short,
Excuse me. I'm sorry?
just a little bit short.
A little bit short. Part of the report to the state also includes our goals and objectives, and if you refer to the back of the report, we report on each eligible or objective or program that was reported within our housing element. And in looking at this, we are progressing on some of the programs. We're keeping up with our goals, and we made some changes to our ordinances to comply with the housing element needs. So I feel we're doing pretty good. And at this time, we're asking for you to approve the annual report, and then we will provide that submitted to the state.
This being a public hearing, we can now open up for public comment. Does anybody wish to comment on this topic? Seeing as no one is coming forward, then we'll put it to a vote.
May I just make a comment, Mayor Pro Tem? Norma, so I think I've asked this before, but just maybe for the record, that we were severely short of our RENA housing goal, but there is no ramifications out of being short, correct, in terms of penalties or any kind of ramification or consequence?
At this point, there are no, but there's certain legislation that may
Tie the two together.
It may
with
tie us
SB1
together.
funds.
Is that right?
At present, there is no tie, but there is a proposal to tie RENA compliance with the receipt of SB1 funds. However, with some of the new developments you have, you may well be in compliance by that point.
Okay.
We're keeping a close eye on it.
And I'm assuming that by those developments, we mean that the construction of the new homes.
Yeah, your deficiency is in homes above moderate and low income, not below.
Okay.
But Betsy, the way SB1's written now, there is no implication
Correct,
to
you are
that, correct?
absolutely correct. There is
So-
a move to tie the two together.
So and obviously if it's repealed, that's one issue, but you're saying
Yes.
there's another issue to modify.
If it were modified, then we would have to have a different conversation about compliance.
Now, are those amendments already on the floor?
I believe that they are, yes, and I'll find out the status of them.
Thank you. So with that, we'll move for a vote. We have a motion by Councilmember Jackson, second by Councilmember Silva. Passes unanimously 4-0 with one absent. Moving on to new business. Item number 11, the extension of the ordinance providing the deferral of development impact fees. Presentation by Ms. Villacaña.
Good evening. This is another housing development tool that the city has offered in the past. In the past, we've allowed for the deferment of development impact fees for new construction. And the ordinance that we had in place expired early last month. So we are coming before you to request an extension of this ordinance, specifically right now where the housing construction is starting. And we have some interest from the developer to use this deferment tool to assist with the construction of the new homes that he's proposing. So we do support this ordinance, and we would ask that you extend. The extension is for 3 years, and it would expire in 2021 if it's approved.
Thank you very much. So we're looking for a motion.
Is this a public hearing, Norma?
No, it's
New
not.
business.
Can I have some,
Comment?
yeah. So, is this a new developer, Ms. Villacaña, or is this an existing development that's currently in
It's
process?
a Lotus,
Lotus Ranch.
the Lotus Ranch developer, yes.
And just in regards to the interest of the extension? Have we been getting quite a number of businesses participating in this process?
Actually, not until recently. We've only had one in the past, and it was a hotel development. We've never had residential extensions because we never had residential new construction. So this would be the first one.
And I'm just reading the staff report, but again, the certificate of occupancy is not given until that is paid in full, correct?
That's correct.
And do you know if, as far as cities, are we the only ones that are offering this type of program, or is this pretty much in line with
I
other
believe other
cities?
cities within the county have the same type of program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Villacaña. I believe we have a motion by Councilmember Jackson, second by Councilmember Silva. We take it to a vote. It's unanimous 4-0 with one absent.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe at this time, we're going to be calling the successor agency.
Or successor agency.
Oh, the refund. Yeah, okay. Do you
We'll
want to
be
adjourn,
breaking-
do you want to adjourn to the successor
Yes,
agency
we'll be
meeting?
adjourning, and we'll move to the successor agency. So item number 12, the refinancing of the 2007A tax allocation bond presentation by Ms. Salcido.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Before you, for your consideration and review is the opportunity to refinance the 2007 A bonds, tax allocation bonds from the previous redevelopment agency. Based on current market conditions, the refinancing of the outstanding bonds will generate over $1.3 million in savings, which is 6.5% of the refunded par amount of the bonds. Our policy calls for at least a 5% present value savings, and this is over that threshold that we have in our policy. With me today, we have three of the consultants from, financial consultants, NHA advisors, Mike Myers, who will be presenting to you a PowerPoint with the details of this refinancing. Also in-house, we have Mr. Don Hunt, our bond counsel, and then Stifel Representative Jose Vera. Okay. Mr. Mike Myers.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, honorable council members. My name is Mike Meyer. I'm with NHA Advisors. We're serving as the municipal advisor on this proposed refinancing transaction. We have a few slides that provide an overview of the opportunity. As a quick background, the successor agency does have 3 outstanding bond issues, the 2007 A bonds, 2007 B, as well as an issue from 2011. The 2007 Bs and 2011s cannot be prepaid at this time, so that's not part of the proposed refinancing. It's solely the 2007 As. Those are outstanding in the amount of $21 million and at an interest rate of 4.39%, and those are being repaid through a maturity of 2036. So the refinancing proposal is fairly straightforward. It's to the same maturity of 2036, just taking advantage of the lower interest rate environment. As Ms. Salcido mentioned, the estimated present value savings is about $1.3 million. That's above the city's minimum target of 5%. On a cumulative basis, it's about $2.5 million over the next 18 years, and those savings will be shared amongst the city's general fund, county's general fund, as well as the various school districts based on the share of residual revenue that all these entities currently get. A little bit more detail on slide 5 of the estimated savings. I think the more applicable table is on the right side. This shows the current debt payments in the first column there, starting with $1.2 million. And then to the right of that is the estimated payments. And as you can see from the right-hand column, the estimated cash flow savings each year is about $250,000, and that's the amount that will be shared amongst the taxing entities. In terms of the timeline of this transaction, we have been working with Norton Rose as bond and disclosure counsel since the beginning of the year to put together the financing documents and the analysis. We did go through a competitive RFP process in February to hire a underwriter. Stiefel Nicholas was chosen to be that underwriter, and Mr. Vera is here tonight. Tonight, this is essentially the initial approval to get the ball rolling. After tonight's approval and tomorrow's oversight board approval, we will submit a full package to the Department of Finance. At that point in time, they have 65 days to approve this refinancing. And during that time, we'll be working to put the rest of the documentation together. So the preliminary official statement, which is the document that Stiefel will use to market the bonds to investors. And we'll also be going to the credit rating agencies to get a credit rating. And then once we get that approval from DOF, which we expect in May, we'll go out to the market to set the interest rates and close the transaction. So with that, our last slide here is just a quick overview of most of the parties I just mentioned. So I'll open it up to any questions or comments you may have.
We open up to the council for questions, comments.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you please put back the slide where you show the payments? That one.
Yeah.
So help me understand something that you said. So the third column shows what the new payment will be, and the last column represents the savings as compared to the previous payment. So tell me again how that ultimately reflects on a cash influx into the city?
So right now, the successor agency can only collect an amount to pay debt service. The remainder, the residual revenue from what the former redevelopment agency used to collect in tax increment revenue,
Okay.
that difference right now is being shared amongst all the taxing entities, the city, county, all the various school districts. By lowering the debt service, that increases the amount of residual revenue that gets to be shared each year. And that's where the $250,000 of savings is coming from.
So if I get this correct, so the revenue coming in remains constant, our payments have decreased.
The payments have decreased, and so the amount of residual revenue to be shared is greater now. So
Okay.
that means that the city's general fund will be getting about 20 to 25% of the savings that's shown up there. So,
Yeah, you may want,
right.
there's a slide, I believe, that you can.
so the table on the bottom of slide 4, these are estimates as of now, put together by HDL, who's the fiscal consultant on the transaction. But as you can see, the city's general fund is about a quarter of the residual share.
So basically, we're looking at about a 28% gain
Yes,
out of the
out of the
excess.
savings.
Which I calculated to be approximately 65,000 back to the city from this redistribution and into the general fund.
On an annual basis?
Yes.
This kind of raises a question for me, Betsy.
Yes.
Since I see on the table, within the entities that would benefit from this action, my employer is there, Imperial Community College District. Should I be abstaining?
No, because it's a public agency source of income.
Okay.
I had one question. In regards to the 2007B and 2011, can you explain why, is it a time frame issue that we are not allowed to refinance those?
Okay.
When a bond is issued, there's call features that are attached to that. So when a city can pay those off. Sometimes there's an inability to call them, so they're issued as non-callable. And so for the 2007 Bs, those were issued 11 years ago as non-callable. So the city or successor agency cannot repay those early. The 2011s can be, but they can't be done until 2021. So as we get closer to 2021, it may make sense to refinance those.
Of course, by then, the interest rates might be higher than where we are right now.
That's true.
Okay. All right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
We are basically asking for your approval of the refinancing of this tax allocation bonds, as well as the indenture, the bond purchase agreement, and related actions.
So we're looking for a motion. We have a motion by Councilmember Jackson, a second by Councilmember Silva. We go to a vote. It looks like we have a unanimous 4-0 with one absent.
Thank you.
We do not have any business scheduled with the successor housing agency, so I believe that would adjourn.
We have public comments.
But are we required to adjourn back into, or come back to as a city?
I think probably you want to adjourn to the Financing Authority to do the second, you need to do the second installment, the second amendment to the installment purchase, and then you can go back to the city council
We'll
meeting.
adjourn to the financing authority at this moment. And we have 2 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull an item? So we go to a vote?
Mayor Pro Tem, there's no electronic vote on this, so we'll have to do, I can do a roll
I'll move for
call.
approval on the 2 consent items, 1 and 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have unanimous 4-0 with one absent. So the financing authority consent agenda is approved. And now I believe we go back to our council meeting in order to open public comment. At this time, the city council welcomes your input. Members of the public may address the city council on any matter not listed on the posted agenda. Pursuant to the Brown Act, no action will be taken on any issue brought forth under public comments. We ask that you please complete a speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Although you are not required to identify yourself pursuant to Government Code Section 54953.3, this information on the speaker slip assists the mayor that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. Any information provided on the speaker slip is voluntary and will be public record. Do we have any speaker slips?
No.
At this time, we will close public comment, move on to task force reports and council member reports. Mr. Silva, would you like to
Yeah,
lead us off?
thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. A couple of things. Last week, I attended the Yuma Economic Summit that we have discussed in council chambers. That is the follow-up to the binational mayors summit that was held in Mexicali, and the city of Yuma had agreed to host the economic summit. That was well-attended, well done. Our city manager was there, along with Liz was there, and I facilitated one of the workshops, mostly on my position as a dean at our college. But I thought it was a good effort. It really gave us a chance to see the planning that took place and some of the protocols that the city of Yuma followed to get this accomplished. So related to that, I'd like to announce to the council to please save a date. We, the city of El Centro, is planning to host the Public Safety Summit, come up in May 18th. It'll be hosted by the city of El Centro, but the facilities or the actual location of the summit will be at Imperial Valley College. That will include some tours and court tour of the new jail and some of the public safety installations at the college. Just to remind you that we expect this summit to be attended by representatives from Mexicali, from Sonora, Mexico, from the Yuma area, that would include Somerton, San Luis, Arizona, as well as Yuma, and also some of the local communities here in Imperial Valley. So I think that the agenda that our city manager has put together with Liz really looks really promising, and I think it's going to be a really good event. So I hope that all of you are able to join us for that. Also attended the State of the County address that Supervisor Castillo informed us of the state of the county. I have to say that at least in all the State of the County's addresses that I've attended before, this one looked more like a party than the State of the County. It was really entertaining. They had mariachi music there, and they had music afterwards. I thought that was kind of cool, but very informative. So that's the extent of my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Silva. Councilmember Cardenas?
Yeah, thanks again. And do they have a start time yet, maybe on the Public Safety Summit on the 18th? Are they looking at?
I think we're looking at,
It's going to start at 9 o'clock with
Okay.
tour of the sheriff's new detention facility, and then also tours at IVC, their Fire and Police Academy.
Perfect. Mayor Pro Tem, yeah, just attended a couple of different events. So number one, attended a ribbon cutting ceremony at our new walk-in clinic on North Imperial. So well-attended event, some really good food. Also had the opportunity to meet the new CEO for American Red Cross here in out of San Diego and Imperial County. I appreciate Commander Reels being there, our city manager being there. So we got to kind of hear him cast his vision and see some of the equipment that they have. So very fortunate to have a brand new CEO, and appears to be pretty passionate when it comes to our community. You know, also attended the State of County address, and appreciate seeing our colleagues there. And again, kudos to the county for putting on a pretty good event. And then the last thing that I attended, I did attend a chamber mixer at the University of Phoenix, and was able to have fun with those chamber guys. So, thank you.
A couple things, also attended the State of the County. Yesterday, took part in a training that was kind of unique to the Valley, that was brought by the Broadway Police Officers or Sergeants Association and Deanza Rescue, and it was Echelon Front, and it was a leadership training. Some of our staff, I know our city manager, Liz, I think a couple of our command staff and officers from the police department were there, and Chris Lagakis was there. He was, the speaker was JP Donnell. He was the head sniper of SEAL Team 3, which was the Delta team that was with Chris Kyle for the American Sniper. So they worked kind of in tandem, and basically kind of talked about his time in Ramadi and his deployments, and then tied it to leadership in everyday life. So it was I thought it was a good training. I think it was something that was nice to have the Valley, a lot of participation throughout the Valley with different cities and businesses. So that was good. And then starting tomorrow, I think probably quite a few of us will be attending the IVDC Renewable Energy Conference for the next 3 days out at Barbara Worth. That's all I have.
Well, gentlemen, I know that we all attended the State of the County address, and it was a wonderful event. Chairman Ray Castillo did a great job. Former Mayor del Centro really took his time and really planned this event very well. It was very well attended, and I know there was a lot of good information spread to all of us. After that, I attended the CoLab breakfast, which was kind of like a round 2 for the State of the County, because we got the IID part of it. It was good to know everything that's going on that affects all of our constituents, because we're all connected. But I know that I saw you guys at the fair.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't mention one of the biggest events that this county does. And we were all at the fair. The fair was extremely well attended.
Because we were all eating stuff we weren't supposed to eat.
Now, we saw you with the corn dogs. It's okay.
Yeah.
But the fair was extremely well attended. We had great weather. The wind did blow a little bit, but that's to be expected. But it was wonderful to see all the kids out there. They really enjoyed their time, and all the families coming together. It's really one of the most well-attended valley-wide events. And also, the air show.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys forgot about the air show.
Put me down for that one,
We
too.
were eating bad there, too.
Our Blue Angels, come on, that was a wonderful event, and I know I saw you gentlemen there as well. My kids loved it, and it's a jewel of our valley that we get to wake up in the morning and see these guys practicing. It's just amazing. And then we have to, we culminated with this wonderful air show. And even though the weather was supposed to be rainy, it really wasn't. It actually kept the temperature down. Everybody really enjoyed themselves. Normally, we have record heat when we go to the chalets or when we're walking around with the kids, but it was actually very well attended, and the weather was beautiful, beautiful. We also had the ribbon cutting for the new clinic, of course, and that's another big addition to the city of El Centro, and we can never have enough healthcare. I had a discussion earlier today. People may complain about the restaurants. We have too many taco shops, but you can never have enough healthcare. And I also don't agree that we have too many taco shops, because they're all unique in their own little way. But other than that, I'm looking forward to attending the IBEDC Environmental Summit. Talked to Tim Kelly today, and I know that we're going to be out there in force and seeing the issues that are impacting our county, impacting our constituents, and our city. So with that, I think we're ready to adjourn.
Record time.